Hello and welcome to this video on how to format a paper in MLA style. Alright, MLA stands for the Modern Language Association, and they have created a set of standards on how a paper should be set up. We're going to be using Microsoft Word to do this. This is the latest version. I'm recording this on May 19th, 2019. So as they do updates, some of the icons may change because they love changing the appearance of the icons and some of the layout, but it is what it is. Most of the general formatting stuff will be the same. All right, so the first thing we need to do before we do anything else is make sure the margins are set up correctly. Margins for MLA formatting are 1 inch on each side. So how we do that is we click on Layout, and you go to Margins, and then you make sure that's on normal. Okay, some students figure out, ooh, maybe I can bring the margins in so they're really tight, so I don't have to write as much. Boo! No, we're not doing that. It needs to be 1 inch on each side. So if you just click on normal, then our margins are set up. Fantastic. Our margins are set up. Next thing we want to do is make sure that we have the correct font. The correct font is Times New Roman, and it is size 12. That is standard throughout the entire paper. Times New Roman, size 12. Okay, we need to make sure that we do that. Next thing we're going to do is we need to put in the header. The header is something that's at the top of every single page. And it's done, again, this is using Microsoft Word. So to get to the header, I'm going to just double click at the top, towards the top of the page, click, and you'll see this opens up a new section. Normally we can't type up here, but now we're in the header section, and it gives us some new options. Well, we're going to put in the page number and the last name of the person who has written the paper. Please note, these right here, under these options, if you have a check mark under here or here, different first page or different odd and even pages, do not check those, because that will cause you some headaches. So we need to put in the page number. Now some students like to be all fancy, whatever. That is not MLA formatting. So we're just going to click on page number. We're going to go to top of page, and it's just plain number down here. So we're just going to be all the way to the right hand side, and it moves it over there. Okay, and then I'm going to type in the last name, in this case me, and then hit space. So there should be the last name of the person who wrote the paper, a space, and then also the page number. Now notice when I highlight this, just left click and kind of copy over that, it shows me that this is Times New Roman size 12. This is very important for whatever reason. As I am a professor, an English professor, about half the students who turn in their paper, this font up here in the header is different. It's not Times New Roman, and I don't know why they do that. Okay, so just make sure right here, right now. Again, if you just kind of highlight it, it'll bring up this little window box, Times New Roman, size 12. So make sure that's the thing. And then we can close this box and get out of the header and footer section. Next thing we do, before we do anything else, everything in MLA is double spaced. Okay, so we go to the easiest way. Well, there's lots of different ways to do that. The easiest way for me is I go to under the paragraph. There's like a little box right here, little box, paragraph settings. I'm going to click on that, and it brings up this dialog box. Okay. So what I want to do is under line spacing right here says double. So that gives us all sorts of options: 1.5, double, at least, exactly, multiple, whatever. I want to make sure that is on double. Now, if you have fallen asleep at this point in time and you're kind of like just dragging your eyes, I'm going to show you how to solve one of the biggest problems that students do. Everything in here is double spaced. Now, Microsoft Word has this default setting where it says don't add space between paragraphs of the same style. Okay. I don't know why they did this. It is what it is, but you need to put a check mark there, because what's going to happen is if you don't have a check mark right there, it's going to add a space between paragraphs. And as everything in the paper should be double spaced, we don't want to have extra gaps. And if you don't have that check, you have an extra gap, and that is not MLA formatting. What? I know, it's strange, but it just is what it is. So make sure you have a check mark there. Make sure that says double. Check mark, double. Good. And then we're going to hit OK. Next thing we're going to do is type in the name of the person who wrote the paper, Jason Morgan. Then when I hit enter, that should be double spaced down. Then I'm going to put in the name of the instructor, and it's a good idea to use their title, Professor Jones. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is then put in which class this is for. So let's say this is English 111, and make yourself friends with the professor by putting which section number you're in, okay? Whatever class that is. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to put in the dates. Now, again, if you're falling asleep, please wake up. MLA formatting uses the non-standard American version of putting in a date. So you go the day, then the month, then the year. The day, the month, the year. No commas, okay? When we do the day, the month, the year, when we go from the shortest period of time, a day is shorter than a month is shorter than a year, there is no commas, okay? Now, if you were to write May 19th, comma 2019, okay, we'd have a comma. You're like, well, why don't I just put 19 or 5/19 or whatever? No, that is not correct. The correct format for MLA formatting is day, month, year. Day, month, year. You're like, but I'm in America, so it should be May 19th, comma 2019. Not according to MLA formatting, and we're playing by their rules. Okay. All right, there we go. So now look, we got that. Name of the person who wrote it, the professor or the instructor or whatever their title is, maybe they're a doctor or whatever, the class you're in, the date. And I'm going to hit enter again. Now we put in the title. The title, we need to center it, okay? Notice that the title, there's one thing strange about it, but it is not bolded, it is not underlined, it is not in quotation marks, it is not italicized, it's none of that. So we will call this example of an MLA formatted paper. Now you're like, wait a minute, why did you capitalize F in formatted or P in paper, but you didn't capitalize the O and N? Because basically the easiest way that I can kind of keep it straight in my mind is everything, every word in a title should be capitalized on an MLA paper for the title, except for extremely common words like of, and, whatever. But example, MLA, formatted paper. Notice, again, it is not bolded, it is not underlined, it is not in quotation marks, it is not italicized. It is just that. All right, going to hit enter. Now we need to go back to left aligned. Okay, or what is called this? What do they call it? Yeah, align left. Okay, example of MLA formatted paper. The first line should be indented. The easiest way to do that is just to hit the tab button. Tab, boop, and it moves it over. And then we start typing. This is the first line of the paper. Okay, and then we would just keep writing. And you get bonus points if you can pronounce this. And I'm typing away here. Woohoo! A+ in this paper. Okay, just put in some text in here. Perfect. I'm going to put a period at the end. Okay, so there is my first paragraph. Okay, now I hit enter. Now sometimes, depending on the settings, it'll automatically indent and sometimes not. Now we need to do the second paragraph. So then we're going to go ahead and hit tab again to indent it. This is the start of the second paragraph. And then we would have more text in here. Woo, okay. Now I want you to notice something, okay? You'll notice that everything here is double spaced. The gap between here and 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 here. All of this is, there's the same amount of gaps, spacing between everything. Remember when I showed you that little button before? So let's just kind of, for giggles, let's highlight this whole thing, okay? And let's go back to a paragraph and let's uncheck this box. Now watch what happens. Boom! See, it adds a space between extra lines. So you'll notice here, the gap here between this line and this line, okay? That's this. This is not the same gap as between here. There's an extra line added. Okay? That's wrong. And again, and then between paragraphs, we have this gap between here and here is too big. Okay? And so we just need to fix that by going back up to here and making sure that that is checked. Okay. Now, some of you may be going, who cares? Why does it have to be that specific? I will say the most important skill here isn't necessarily learning MLA formatting, but how to follow directions exactly. Regardless of what job you're going to be doing, it's been my experience, and I'm old, that there are jobs where I have to follow directions very specifically. If I do it incorrectly, then it's wrong. And often the difference between being promoted or sometimes even keeping your job is if you can follow directions exactly the way they should be done. So think of it that way. Think of practicing, MLA formatting and having it done exactly a certain way as a way of practicing this following direction. So there you go. That is what MLA formatted paper should look like, and that's how you do it. All right, now go do it.